Hey, some good news for Earth's ozone. It's on track to recover completely within the next 2 decades. According to a United Nations-backed assessment, ozone-depleting chemicals have been phased out across the world. Manisa Danabalan joins us live with the latest. So, Manisa, this is a start, but I understand there's still a long way to go.
Yes, Kelly. If global policies stay in place, scientists say that the ozone layer will recover to 1980 levels by 2040 for most of the world.
The ozone layer of the atmosphere protects our planet from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays.
About 90% of the Earth's ozone exists in the stratosphere, the layer of the atmosphere that extends from 8 to about 30 miles above the Earth's surface.
Without the stratospheric ozone layer, we would all be in for an epidemic of skin cancer and other health risks.
For decades, scientists have warned about a hole in the ozone caused by substances including chlorofluorocarbons, also known as CFCs. These are found in refrigerators, aerosols, and solvents. A worldwide treaty in 1987 banned these and some other chemicals that munched away at the ozone about 29 kilometers above us. Now, according to a United Nations-backed assessment published on Monday, the use of CFCs has dropped since 1989.
The phase-out of nearly 99% of banned ozone-depleting substances has succeeded in safeguarding the ozone layer, leading to a notable recovery of the ozone layer in the upper stratosphere and decreased human exposure to harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun.
While most of the world is expected to recover by 2040, polar areas like the Arctic and Antarctica are expected to take longer. Environmental studies professor Robert McClellan says once CFCs are in the atmosphere, it takes many decades for them to break down.
Ozone is naturally thinnest over the poles, and that relates simply to the circulation processes of air in the atmosphere and the fact that sunlight tends to be highest at the equator and in the tropics and lowest at the poles. And so there's less of this ozone UV interaction taking place at the poles in the first place.
University of Waterloo professor Larry Swatuk says it's great news, but the claim that it would lead the way for climate action is misguided.
In the case of the ozone layer, we are dealing with very specific chemicals that can be substituted, whereas in terms of the climate, fossil fuels are the basis of everybody's wealth creation and livelihoods on the planet, and so a much more complicated problem to deal with.
We're still damaging the atmosphere through the burning of fossil fuels, through the release of methane into the atmosphere, and that is causing warming of the atmosphere.
Despite the good news, climate change is still wreaking havoc on parts of the world. McClellan points to the recent floods in Pakistan.
A monsoonal precipitation regime, which means there's a distinct wet season and then a distinct dry season. And so they tend to receive all of their precipitation within a short period in the summertime. And one of the things that seems to be happening with climate change is that monsoonal precipitation is becoming more dramatic. There's more extreme rainfall events.
The historic floods killed at least 1,700 people and destroyed more than 2 million homes. Now dozens of countries and international institutions are pledging more than $9 billion to help Pakistan recover.
We also need to right a fundamental wrong. Pakistan is doubly victimized by climate chaos and the morally bankrupt global financial system. That system routinely denies middle-income countries the debt relief and concessional funding needed to invest in resilience against natural disasters.
Back in December, there was a big international conference in Egypt to deal with climate change. And one of the things that came out of that was that wealthy countries agreed that they would set up a fund to compensate poorer countries that are feeling the direct impacts of climate change right now. A good example of this is the flooding that's been occurring in Pakistan in the past year and the massive human impacts that that has caused.
In the assessment, scientists also examined new technologies, such as geoengineering, spraying aerosols into the Earth's stratosphere to reflect sunlight out of the atmosphere. Kelly?